October and then play 13 straight games and then into the playoffs if they make the playoffs. That is just there's no sugarcoating it. It's brutal. Welcome into a special Wednesday evening edition of the Hot Read Podcast. I'm your host, Easton Freeze, Director of Published Content here at BroadwaySportsMedia.com. We're also brought to you by the 440 Podcast Network. You can follow me on social media at Easton Freeze. I'm joined as always by producer JT. You can follow on social media at JT_Runke. JT, schedule release day, your favorite. How are you, my friend?
I'm so excited to be here. This is the greatest day of my entire life.
It's great to hear.
I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, well, so am I. I obviously am almost as excited as you are. We're breaking down the Titans schedule, which just came out about 37 minutes ago here on a Wednesday. If you're with us live. Huh?
That was sarcastic. I don't like schedule release day.
Yeah, I think they could tell.
I just want to make sure for the people who can't see my
smile.
Well, for the people who are listening that can't
inside eyes.
Yeah, but for like the podcast people who we need to give context about how I feel about this. But yes,
okay. JT hates this, but the rest of you don't hate it. JT's bad and wrong. He's here anyways because this is what we do. And as Derek says in the comments, you need to calm down, JT. It's not going to be a long episode. We're just going to react to the Titans schedule. If you're with us live this evening, we appreciate you being here. Do us a couple of favors. First of all, if you're watching live on Twitter or on Facebook, leave those places. Go to Broadway Sports Media's YouTube page. It's Broadway Sports Media on YouTube. Find this live stream, and in the comment section, you can join Stoney, who is back after losing 8 pounds from foodborne illness. Happy to have you back, Stoney, and alive with us. Derek, Kenneth, all of you guys, we appreciate you being here with us, and you can be a part of the conversation along with them in that comment section. We'd love to hear your thoughts, questions, comments on what the Titans 2024 is going to look like. Now, we've known who the Titans are going to play and whether they will be playing them at home or away for some time now. But, of course, schedule release day is all about in what order they do that. And the Titans are playing a lot of noon games, baby. Get ready to learn noon Central Time, baby, because that is when the Titans
That's the thing I'm happiest about. I'm so happy about that. That works great for me.
Yes, it makes our job easy. We can get into a routine. It's not like every week there's a new set of circumstances we have to adapt to for the show. So from our job standpoint, very fun. For fans, not super fun to only have one primetime game. But listen, you were picking in the top 10. You're 7th overall in the 2024 NFL draft. What were you expecting? The Titans get one primetime game, an away game in week 4 in Miami, which we'll go game by game here in a moment and break down the implications of each of them and kind of look at the schedule from a 10,000-foot view. But beyond that, they're playing at noon every single week, except for in week 10 when they play the Los Angeles Chargers, which is a 3:05 p.m. game, Central Standard Time. Beyond the timing, JT, the number one thing that stands out to me, again, besides not having but one primetime game, is the placement of all of the divisional games. This is a dream, in my opinion, for the Titans. And we've got the schedule pulled up for you, a very fancy graphic that I put together here on the video version of the show. So if you're not watching now, turn your attention to the video portion of the show, and you'll see each of the Titans games. JT, a lot of AFC South there at the bottom. The Titans playing 5 of their 6 divisional games in the final 7 games of the year. So in other words, 5 of their last 7 games against divisional opponents, both of their Jaguars games, both of their Texans games, and the only division game that's outside of that end of the schedule is in week 6 when they host the Colts. That's exactly how you want it, in my opinion. I think it makes for, I was talking to my dad about this earlier, and by the way, I should probably explain where I'm at. I'm in a hotel room in Kentucky. I'm going to the PGA Championship tomorrow, so that's where I'm at. But you know what? We're here doing the show anyways because the grind does not stop. I was talking to my dad about how it stinks if you have a front-loaded schedule with all your divisional games, because if you get off to a slow start or you get some bad breaks and you tank your divisional record in the first 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks of the season, you're screwed. Like, you're going to have to pretty much win out. You can ruin your season, even if your record is not ruined. You can ruin your chances of winning the division early if you have to play all those games early. And the Titans don't have to get to any of them until really starting in week 12.
Yeah, I think it's a big thing, especially looking at, I think you pulled this from last year and kept the London on there, but they're not playing in London this year, so that's a little bit of a
Whoops, I'll
typo.
take that off later. Yeah. No.
But yes, they only do play one game against an AFC South opponent in the first basically half of the season, which, you know, is nice when it's a little tough for them, I think, because, you know, you would like to have some of those games, I think, earlier in the season.
Why?
Just from because when it gets down to it, playing your divisional opponents is a lot harder than anybody else because they know you a lot better.
So you mean just having them more spread out? Is that the argument?
I think having majority of them in the back half is not advantageous, personally.
Well, then we completely disagree. Why? I think that creates for the most drama. I think you want all of the drama to last to the end of the season. I think even if you start, like, again, they play one of those games in the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games. So they're going to get through 11 games and have only played one divisional game. If they are 5 and 6 in those games and in the middle of the pack in the AFC, they still have a very strong chance of winning the division because they've got all of their divisional games left. They can clean up and improve their record. You know, kind of a multiplier there, because you're not only improving your record, but you're winning divisional games. Like, I think staying in the divisional race as long as possible by not playing them until the end makes for a more entertaining season, top to bottom.
It makes for a more entertaining season, but if you're talking about the Titans' chances outright, playing a divisional game objectively is harder than playing anybody else in the league, in my opinion. And so when you look at that down the stretch, let's say they are 5 and 6. Of course, something is not really working if you're getting to that point. And now you have to go up against some of these teams who are going to be touted as some really good teams this season, paired with the fact that they are your divisional opponent. Everything is heightened in those games. I don't know how excited I would be, you know, to maybe get through that gauntlet when in years past you could maybe get away with, you know, grabbing 1 or 2 games on your divisional opponents earlier in the season, and then have some of these other teams down the stretch that make it a little bit easier to continue a winning streak or stay hot. Because of course, as we know, in the NFL, down the stretch, you want to get hot at the right time. I think playing a bunch of divisional games towards the end of the season makes it a little harder to stay hot and get on a winning streak towards the end of the season, especially in those last 3 games. I mean, you look at the Indianapolis Colts, Jacksonville Jaguars, Houston Texans. 2 of those games are away.
I think that's awesome.
It's nice for the entertainment. I'm not disagreeing with you for entertainment value. I'm saying from an objectively competitive standpoint, that's going to be really, really tough if the Titans are looking to go on
a draining.
It is. And it's going to be tough if the Titans want to go on a run late in the season to put 3 games back to back against divisional opponents together to make a chance to get to the playoffs.
Okay, I was gonna flame you for that take, but you made a coherent argument. You made a cogent argument there. So I see what you're saying. I'm not sure I totally agree, but I think you've brought us to the point where you have to recognize there's a bit of a double-edged sword, and I see it as, with so many put up or shut up, nut cutting time games down the stretch here, that's the kind of thing that if it's a trial by fire. Like it's forged in the fire of divisional games. If you come out of that alive and get to the postseason, I think you're a team that most of the league is going to be scared of. But I guess to your point, there's a world in which you go through those games, you survive, you punch your ticket to the playoffs, and by the time you're done with it, you're out of gas, you're out of steam. And so yeah, I'll have to noodle on that for a little bit, because I think it could go either way, just depending on the attrition you're going through, the guys that you have that you're losing. I'll tell you this much, from a rest standpoint, we can kind of transition to this. The Titans have a very, not only is their schedule consistent in terms of time of the game each week, but a very consistent schedule in terms of rest differential. They came out on the positive side much more often than the negative side. My buddy Mike Herndon, God bless him, because I did not want to have to sit and do this before the show. He went through and did the rest differential math on this. The Titans 5 times this year are going to have a rest advantage going into a game. Only once will they be at a rest disadvantage. And for those that aren't sure what we're talking about, that just means if you have more or less days off than your opponent, right? So it's an advantage if you've had more days off, and disadvantage if you've had less. And so in week 2 against the Jets, they'll have an advantage because the Jets are coming off Monday Night Football. In week 6 against the Colts, they'll have an advantage because that's coming off Tennessee's bye. So the Titans will be coming off of a full extra week off. Week 7, they'll have an advantage over Buffalo, who will be coming off of Monday Night Football. Week 12, they'll have an advantage over Houston, who's coming off of Monday Night Football. And week 15, they'll have an advantage over Cincinnati, who's coming off of Monday Night Football. The only disadvantage will be in week 18, which kind of comes at an inopportune time because you could see a world in which this game is like the season. But in week 18 against Houston, the Titans will be coming off of the Texans will be coming off of a Saturday game. So they'll have 1 day of extra rest, which is, a little bit neither here nor there. I would say it certainly helps. The whole rest differential thing, I would say probably leans in your favor more often when you aren't playing in primetime yourself, when you're getting a full 7 days of rest between games each week. So I'm sure that part went into it. But JT, overall, not a ton to report on the rest differential front of things. There's only once in the season they're going to have more than an extra day or 1 less day than their opponent. And that's going to be in week 6, their first divisional game against Indianapolis, when they're going to be coming off of their bye.
Yeah, I think you can also look at it. There's no teams, I believe, that are coming off of extra rest because of playing a Thursday night game as well. So no Thursday night game for the Titans, which means no short weeks, but also no teams will be coming off that extra rest from playing a
mini bye,
right, a Thursday night game previously. So I think it really shakes out in the favor of the Titans. I think it also, there's a great point that was, I forget who brought it up on Twitter right before this, but I saw it makes for Brian Callahan's first season. It gives them a nice schedule. You're not, unlike last year where there's a Thursday night game and you're going to London and you have all these other different factors.
Right.
Every single week, you feel like, for the most part, is a really nice routine that this team can really get into some nice synergy and keep things kind of the same and get the routine down and find what works for them. And I think that's a huge part of a young, new team trying to put everything together when you have this schedule where, the only game is the Monday Night Football game in week 4. After that, it is just, even the bye week after Monday Night Football. So it's, it's a shortened bye, but, by 1 day, but a bye nonetheless. You're playing these games every single week, with the same kind of rest, which gives your body, I think, the upper hand.
I agree that in that vein, it is an advantage for a new coach of Brian Callahan. Let me tell you what's not great for the coach or for the team. JT, we've mentioned that the 2 biggest things that jump out, the timing of the games and the divisional opponents being weighted towards the back half. The third thing that stands out to me, and kind of the elephant in the room here, a week 5 bye should be illegal. That sucks. Last year I think they were week 7 bye, right? Because they played week 6 in London, and they had that.
Correct.
Right. So that felt too early. This feels unbelievably early. They're going to have a bye the first week of October, and then play 13 straight games, and then into the playoffs if they make the playoffs.
Yeah,
that is there's no sugarcoating it. It's brutal.
It is, and I'll have to. I wonder which teams had the early buys last year and see how it kind of fared. That's something that might be interesting to go and look at. Those teams that have the super early buy, it is really unfortunate, right? You especially like the dream scenario would probably be like right where that November 17th game is, to have a buy around there where you can rest up right
somewhere
before,
in the middle, back middle,
where you can rest up before the gauntlet of playing. What is it? 5 divisional games and a game against an opponent who will probably be in the playoff picture as well. You would like to have that, but still, it may prove fruitful for the Titans though, because if we look at their first 4 games, it's not an easy start to the season.
Well, can I make it the first 8 weeks? Because their first 7 games, I see 2 games in which they might be favored. And that's week 1 against Chicago. And that might be more of a coin flip because it's in Chicago. And I don't know what Vegas is going to think of Caleb Williams. And then it's week 6 against Indy. And again, by then, who knows what Vegas thinks of. I mean, it's at home, but if Vegas is high on AR by week 6, they're not going to be favored against the Jets. They're not going to be favored against the Packers. They're not going to be favored on the road against the Dolphins, or on the road against the Bills, or on the road against the Lions. We talked at the beginning of the show about how brutal the divisional schedule is down the back half. The non-divisional schedule, they were a 4th place team in their division last year, which in theory is supposed to give you an easier schedule. they did not receive that easy schedule because the teams they drew were, I mean, just some unfortunate ones to draw in terms of the last place afforded teams. But man, in those first 7 games, the Colts and the Bears games are going to be really important because they're going to have to pull some upsets.
They definitely are. And Stoney in the comments pulling them for me while we're on air. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Stoney.
Week 5 buys last year: Cleveland, LA, Seattle, and Tampa. 2 playoff teams there. Tampa probably the best out of that, but I think there's asterisks to both of those when you've given.
I mean, Tampa won
the
8
circumstances,
games, didn't they? Right?
They won
a
less than
division.
10,
Yeah.
and because they're in these very soft NFC South. And then Cleveland, a Joe Flacco Linsanity run,
right.
revival tour is really the only reason that they were able to continue. So, it kind of goes to show, like, I think the Chargers in Seattle, especially with the Chargers, who battled a lot of injuries, what could have happened last year if they had a bye later in the season, something that maybe the Titans could be wondering. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, I'm not going to start 5 months out saying, "Ooh, I'm not going to predict what they will go right now," right? Because that's just foolish to do. But just looking at it, yeah, I mean, it is a tough draw, especially when you're a last place team, when you're getting teams who finished in last place, like the Bengals and the Chargers and the Jets and all these teams that, for one reason or another, are not last place teams, but did finish in last place, or the Patriots. I guess with the Jets, they play all of the AFC, but still, like,
so hang on,
I mean,
the last place teams they drew were Washington, the Chargers, and
Washington, Bengals, Chargers.
Yeah. So Washington's really the only they're the only gift team to you there. Chargers,
and
Bengals.
Could they even be? Like, they have a lot of things going well for them. They have a quarterback now in Jaden Daniels, who we don't know if he'll be good by that time or not. Who knows what will happen exactly? But still, like, there aren't any really soft teams on the schedule besides maybe like the Patriots right now that I could objectively feel confident about saying, yeah, the Titans, especially at home against the Patriots, they should feel really good about this game.
Yeah, and I see Logan in the comments. This picture is not accurate. Hey, buzz off. I made this in a car hurriedly before we got on the thing. We're aware, yes, that December 8th, not Monday Night Football. I'll fix that. Don't worry. October 13th, not London. I'll fix that. Don't worry. It's all the teams and the weeks and the times are right. That's what you should focus on. Give me some grace here. I'll tell you what. I like the middle of the season. And I like the fact that, you mentioned how difficult the stacking of divisional games is at the back half of the season. 5 of their last 7 being divisional games. The fact that they had a lot of non-divisional opponents that could have been in there to make that run even more difficult. I think drawing Washington and Cincinnati is Cincinnati no slouch. Don't get me wrong, but like that could have easily been Buffalo, Detroit. That could have easily been a surging Green Bay and a surging Miami Dolphins. It could have been an ungodly stretch. And I don't know, man. I think that, every year we come on this show in particular and talk about like, well, this is the part of the season that really is going to define their season. They got to win. You got to go 2-2 in this stretch, or, you got to try to get to 500 in these 8 games or whatever it is. You get a break in the middle. It feels like a pretty balanced schedule to me, besides the fact that the bye is in week 5. No road trips or homestands of more than 2 games at a time. So it's 1-1s, 2s-1s. That I think is good. It's the kind of schedule that, like you alluded to earlier, there's a lot of consistency. There's a lot of balance to it. Besides the bye being in week 5, there's going to be a pretty steady rhythm throughout the year in terms of routine, I think, for the team and for fans and for media.
Yeah, I think, they also got maybe some gifts in this schedule when you even talk about, it could have been a Miami, it could have been a Buffalo, where they got some of those teams who are super weather dependent. I think really helps them out here. One of those being Miami, being in that September month, but being at night, it puts the temperature aspect of that kind of
because have you heard that the person that designed the Dolphins Stadium did so for the sunlight to hit the thing? Shut up.
Buffalo being on October 20th, in Buffalo before it gets really, really cold, I think is a nice thing. And then, even when you're looking at the back half of
what's your coldest weather game? December 1st in Washington,
It probably is. I mean,
or at home on January 4th or 5th,
yeah,
like that.
but I mean, like when you're playing those AFC South teams like the Texans and Colts at the end of the season, they're in domes, Like, could
Exactly.
Jacksonville be cold December 29th? I don't know,
No,
probably not.
no, 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 no.
Like I
Cold for
think that they
Jacksonville, like 45 degrees, maybe.
yeah, I think they really lucked out on temperature wise. And then when you start to talk about, thinking of fun, sexy matchups in this, there aren't really a lot that like scream to me. I think we've talked about already, or we talked about on Twitter before
Oh,
this
I
week
disagree. I think
one,
there are some sexy matchups
Chicago.
in here.
I,
Yeah,
I
can
think
we go game
Chicago
by game
getting
here and just talk about some narratives in each one? And I won't. I'll let you
sure.
go
I
on
mean,
Chicago
I
because
would
it's
if you
obvious
have
that Chicago
narratives,
with
I
the
would. Yeah, I mean,
yeah. So
Chicago, you have Caleb Williams, his first ever game as an NFL starter. And then you also have Kevin Byard, revenge game, his first game as a Chicago Bear against the
Nate
Tennessee
Davis revenge
Titans.
game,
I
Kari
guess.
Blossom game revenge
Oh my,
game,
like if that's what we're doing here, I'll let you have this, man. But like,
Kari Blossom revenge game. Anybody? No.
yeah,
Okay.
Titans legend. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what it is, right? And it's going to be that's sure to be the most watched Titans opener since Marcus Mariota's opener in 2015. Like, you know what I mean?
Like the
It's
Titans might get a
no
better
one's going
than
to be
like
watching for the Titans, to be super clear.
no
They're
no
not
no
watching
no
for
that
Tennessee.
yes.
They're watching for Caleb Williams.
Like CBS is gonna like roll out either team 1 or team 2, not team or 3 or
Yes.
3 or 4, like in
Right.
years past in the noon schedule for that game. So yeah, like there will be eyes on for better or for worse. I mean, like on against the Chicago Bears, people will be watching and seeing the Titans in this new look team because there's a guy on the other team who is really really exciting. So.
Well, you know the vibe it gives me. You weren't covering the Titans at the time, but it's either 3 or 4 years ago they opened against Cleveland. Maybe it was more than that. But it was the year that you'll remember the offseason when it was Baker Mayfield still there. They got OBJ. They had Jarvis Landry before he couldn't run anymore. And the narrative was like the Browns have arrived finally from the depths of hell. This team that we think they're going to the playoffs. Predictions about them winning the AFC North, everything. And then you get to their first game. And they draw the Titans first. Delicious. You know what it was? It was 20. It was AJ Brown's rookie year. So I guess that would be
because the Titans just absolutely slaughtered them in that first game, correct?
Well, yeah, I think they won like 43-20 or something. Yeah, they played massive spoiler. That's what this is going to be, right? This is going to be as we get closer and people start talking about the actual games. Week 1, Chicago, Tennessee. It's not going to be that strong because it's still like it's a rookie QB, But I would bet right now that at home Chicago is favored by I don't know a field goal, maybe 2.5, 3. They'll be talked about as the exciting. No, the talk will be all on the Chicago side. And if the Titans want to come out and make a statement and get folks to pay attention to hey, this Brian Callahan cat he can cook on the side. Hey, Will Levis, year 2, big year for him. He threw 3 touchdowns week 1. Did you see that? That's their opportunity right then and there. On the flip side, it's also their opportunity to prove everybody like confirmation bias. Everybody be like, yep, the rookie quarterback whooped up on you in week 1. It's going to be a long, tough season for the Titans. I could see us coming on this show Monday, September 9th, and having to field a lot of panic and chaos. And I'm not looking forward to that.
Overreaction Monday, baby. Book it on my calendar. I can't wait. So as you know, I love chaos. So
as Stoney points out, week 2, a little Keith Carter, Todd Downing revenge game as they host the New York Jets on September 15th. Here's an interesting thing for a lot of Titans fans. And there's another thing I was talking to my dad about on the ride here. When have Titans fans seen Aaron Rodgers play? The last 2 times the Titans played the Packers, when Aaron Rodgers was in Green Bay, maybe JT, while I'm talking, you can look this up. Times the Titans played the Packers at home. They were in Green Bay the last 2 Packers Rodgers games they played. So I think Titans fans have gone a long time without seeing Aaron Rodgers. I've never seen Aaron Rodgers play in person personally. So that's going to be opportunity there. And
JT assuming that Aaron Rodgers' other Achilles doesn't do the funniest thing of all time on Monday Night Football once again.
Well, did you see the guy that sacked? I forget the player's name. Whoever sacked him week 1 last year and tore his Achilles is now he's on the Niners. He's going to be playing in that first game against the Packers as well.
Oh no, I did not.
Yeah, he's going to be in the game again in week 1.
Wow.
Okay. But anyways,
maybe things, it may, history is always looking to repeat itself. But the last time that the Green Bay Packers played at Nissan Stadium was November 13th, 2016, when the Tennessee
okay.
Titans beat the Green Bay Packers 47-25. So
that's why, and I have no recollection of that game. That's kind of crazy. Okay, interesting. That's a Mariota year. Yeah, I mean, Kyle's saying Mariota led
Mariota 19 of 20, 19 of 26 for 295 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 sack. So
why is this a black hole in my memory? I don't have any recollection of that game. Okay. Anyways, I'll have to go back and refresh myself on that one. Okay, so it's been a while is the point there. It's been 8 years since the Titans fans in Nashville have seen Rodgers. You bring up the point of, in terms of when you want to face the Jets, I think it's a bit of a double-edged sword as well because, again, Rodgers likely not to be dead yet by week 2. You never know. Last year, things can happen. But you're likely to see a healthy Aaron Rodgers in week 2 as opposed to playing him in week 16. You don't quite know what you'd get there. Although there's been a lot of hoopla about the Jets roster this offseason, JT, and about how on paper it's just a top 3 roster in the NFL. You don't count the Jets out with a healthy Rodgers. They've made some important additions. They've shored up the offensive line. They've added some weapons. It's a lot of asterisks. It's a lot of these guys are really old. They're really injury prone. And then there's the element of a lot of this team, they got to figure out how to play together. They got to gel as a team. And so that's something that, you can't know quite what that's going to look like in week 2, but that's kind of the narrative there. If I'm not mistaken, the last time the Titans played the Jets period was 2 years ago. It was an overtime game, and the Jets won it was almost a tie game early in the season. The Jets won on a last-minute field goal, and it was one of, if not the low point of the season. You can probably look that up. Stoney's saying that ESPN Bet has the Bears at -4.5 right now. So, yeah, exactly. The Titans.
Can I lock in Titans plus 4.5 for the best?
You may not. No, you may not lock that in 3 months early because I would also like to lock that in 3 months early, but we're not going to do that.
I guess you do have first pick this year.
I do. So actually, I might lock it in. We'll see. Let's go ahead and go to week 3 here. Unless do you see the last time the Titans played the Jets? Was it 2 years ago?
I was looking it up right now, but I was going to say the sicko in me, the narrative for that game for me personally is going to be who looks better week 2, Olufashinu or JC Latham for me. But that's just me being a sicko.
No, that's the draft sickos narrative. Yeah.
And you are right.
All those weapons, those quarterbacks, and you're focused on the linemen. That's nasty.
The last time the Titans played the Jets, it was at the Jets in October 3rd of 2021, where the Titans lost to the Jets 27-24.
Yeah, that overtime heartbreaker. Okay. Week 3, the Packers. I don't quite know what to make about the stats. Yeah, I forgot that Andre Dillard was a Packer. Andre Dillard revenge game in week 3. We know how the Packers finished last season, right? 7-3 down the stretch, looked really good in the playoffs, had one really fantastic playoff game and then a respectable loss. I don't know if they're going to come in that hot. Like, is Jordan Love going to play at that peak immediately? If he is, this is a problem. But I don't quite know what to make of this team. I'd imagine just by default, they're going to be a significant underdog even at home. But I want to see week 1 and week 2 Green Bay before I really start to formulate how big of a challenge this one's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's 3 months out. I mean, it's hard for me to say until I see them play. As soon as I see them play Chicago and the Jets, then I'll be able to make that. But Andre Dillard, will he be playing? Will he not? Jordan Morgan. Let's see Devondre Sweat on Jordan Morgan. I'm excited for that. Sure. I guess I don't know, but
a team that is not hard to come up with a narrative for is week 4 against the Dolphins, the Titans' only primetime game. And it's an opportunity for the Dolphins to exercise their demons after last year. I think it was also a Monday night game, right?
It was a Monday night game, and it was also a doubleheader game.
Yeah, in Miami. This is a Freaky Friday situation. Of course, the Titans can't just have a standalone primetime game. Their one primetime game has to be a doubleheader. We were, you and I were half jokingly afraid they were going to get screwed with the timing and play at 5:15 or play at 9:15, 6:30. Perfect. Do we know when the other one is? Are they back? Are they at the same time?
I do not know, but I can look it up.
Yeah, let's check. I'm going to guess they're at the exact same time, and no one's going to watch the Titans one. I do.
They play at 7:15.
Okay, so people are gonna watch the first 45 minutes of the Titans game and then tune out for the.
And rest. Michael Wagner saying Dolphins are going to smoke us. This is the same narrative we had last year. I don't.
Okay, but to Michael's point. that was a week, 14, 15 game last year?
14.
14?
Yes.
That was when the Dolphins were and historically have started to fall apart at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. This is when the Dolphins historically put up 70 points on their opponents in September. So, they're hot, they're fast, they're sexy, they're fun, they're healthy early. Not the greatest time to face the Dolphins, in my opinion. That being said, I do love the opportunity for them to exercise their demons, for the Titans to just big boy, just give them the daddy treatment and go down there and do it twice in a row would be very funny.
It would be very funny. I would agree. You get another round of the ghost of David Long Jr. being healthy once again. It's the only real narrative I can think of.
The next game after their week 5 bye, which should be illegal, is at home against Indianapolis. And the one thing that pops out to me is you don't play Indy again for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games. 10. It's 10 games later that you face Indy. You play in week 6 and week 16. In my experience, it's Titans and Colts fans that like to jaw back and forth more than any other opponent in the AFC South. And with two quarterbacks that are second-year players, they both in different rights have a lot to prove, Anthony Richardson and Will Levis. Whoever ends up on top in that game, and or whoever has a bad game, maybe he throws a couple interceptions, has a fumble or two, does something stupid, they're going to have to sit with that, and fans are going to have to sit with that for 2.5 months because you're not going to see the Colts again for somebody's revenge game for a while.
Yeah, I mean, the question is, do you think the Titans at all see Anthony Richardson this season? Does he get hurt before week 5?
No,
or does he make it all the way to week 16?
He'll be there to week 6. Week 16, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, Will Levis could be dead in week 16. He also went down at the end of the year. So
this is true. But I think one thing that that caught my eye and might be an interesting narrative is that the Titans play the 4 top consensus rookie quarterbacks this season. Caleb Williams in week 1, Drake May in week 9, JJ McCarthy week 11, and Jaden Daniels in week 13. So that'll be really interesting to see how the Titans stack up against all 4 of those quarterbacks and kind of compare Will Levis's second year to all 4 of them.
That's a good point. Buffalo on the road in week 7. Titans fans have had a lot of games against Buffalo in the past 4 or 5 years. Some big upsets against Buffalo. But the last time they played was in week 2 years ago. And it's the game where Taylor Lewan tore his ACL again. And they got boat raced like 43-7 or something. I'm not even sure they scored a touchdown in that game. So Titans with an opportunity to exercise some demons in that one. A really tough 1-2 road, but easily the toughest road stretch, in my opinion, even though you play 2 divisional opponents in the road in a row later in the season. I think playing at Buffalo and then at Detroit in back-to-back weeks is really difficult. And I think both of those teams may be like a touchdown favorite in those games.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough 2-week stretch back to back on the road. If one of those games was at home, I think it'd be a little bit more favorable. But yeah, I mean, you're gonna catch Buffalo. I have no idea what Buffalo could be this year. I think the Lions continue to be ascending. They, for my money, it might be a hot take, but they might be the toughest team on the schedule that the Titans play this year.
Sorry, the Bills or the Lions?
The Lions.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I think the Lions are a Super Bowl contender. I'm trying to think of like potential revenge games there. Buffalo, not really. Lions receiver. Who's the speedy guy who scored the touchdown for the Titans in their playoff run against Baltimore?
Josh Reynolds or Khalif Raymond?
Khalif Raymond, Titans legend Khalif Raymond. I can't believe I forgot his name. That's the revenge game there. The Patriots and then Chargers might be a nice reprieve after those 2 games off. Again, another team you really don't know what they're going to be in the Chargers. That could be a terrifying game on the road in week 10, or it could be a game that you're looking forward to. Vikings game is going to be an interesting one just because I'm the sicko in me is excited to see the Vikings receivers go up against the Titans cornerbacks. I think those are going to be really, really fun matchups. L'Jarius Sneed covering Justin Jefferson is going to be really, really fun. Now, I say that, watch them both not be healthy for that game, and they're both out, and my heart's just broken. That's kind of what I'm looking forward to in that one. And then not getting the Texans for the first time until week 12, I find really fun because it gives the Titans a good 11-week period to figure things out and gel and be at a place where they can go up against the favorite in the division. Stoney pointing out with the Vikings in week 11, whether they're going to be rocking with Sam Darnold or JJ McCarthy at that point. It's got to be McCarthy, right? That's not going to be a Darnold game.
I mean, I'm not going to make any decisions right now. I would think that JJ McCarthy goes into the season the starter from the get-go, but that's just my personal opinion.
Sure.
So,
as we continue on down here, Washington, again, no idea what to make of what they're going to be on the road. The Jaguars in December twice, not really a whole lot to say about that besides the Titans are going to have a chance if the Jaguars are hot to dismantle them in the last month again. Your Bengals in week 15, JT, speaking of, are they going to be alive? Joey B, is he going to be around for the week 15?
Oh, he looks better than ever. He looks great. I'm so excited about him.
Well, yeah, but is he going to survive like July and August? That's the
What do you mean? They added.
Is he going to be rolling out of the pocket untouched and kill himself again and then ruin the season?
That's
August 3rd.
Right,
that's the question.
All right.
There's more to it than the Joey B. Will he be there element of it.
There's so many former Bengals versus.
I was about to say there's a lot of former Bengals on this team. It's going to be a revenge game in that Tyler Boyd revenge game.
Cheeto
revenge game. Yeah.
Brian.
Brian revenge game. Maybe they'll have a couple more former Bengals by then. Who knows? Jill Morris saying that she'll be at the Washington game. That'll be fun. Have fun in the worst stadium in the league. But other than that, have fun. Don't get hit with any falling things or sewage or anything that happens in there. Soundwave in the comments saying what I was ultimately getting to here. What do you think the odds are that week 18, that Texans game, Titans-Texans at home in Nissan Stadium, is going to mean something for somebody?
I think it probably will mean more for the Texans, but then again, it's the same exact scenario last year where the Titans could have a very real chance to play spoiler and kind of get some exercise some of Miss Amy's demons, maybe. I think that could
grudge
be
match after some often comments that have been made from ownership groups.
I think that is what that will be. I wouldn't be surprised to see. They're wearing the throwbacks again this year, correct?
The Titans?
Yes.
Yeah, and well, I mean, that's what I was about to say. The Texans. I would put a lot of money that on November 24th in week 12 in Houston, the Texans wear their Copium Columbia blue alternate jerseys. And I would put a lot of money on the fact that the Titans end the season in their Oilers blue at home against the Texans. And that's probably going to be a big narrative both of those weeks. But I guarantee you that's what they do, especially after what happened last year and the comments that have been made this offseason by that Texans ownership that needs to grow up. I think that's a lock.
I think so for sure, and they definitely there will be some petty battles of wearing different uniforms those two games on the game right before Thanksgiving, and then and then the last game of the season as well.
All right, so that's the 2024 Titans schedule. JT, do we want to finish by just watching the Titans schedule release video for folks that have been living under a rock? Yeah. We have it here. We're just going to watch it and react. The Titans reprised their on the streets of Broadway, asking people to name that team based on the logo. They brought back one of the girls from last video to host
Stars of the show.
The Red Stallion girl.
Yes.
So without further ado, here's the Titans schedule release video.
Guys, Red Stallion girl. I'm here back on Broadway.
Oh, the Bengals. Yeah, I love the Bengals.
Love the Bengals.
Love Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
They peaked in 1970.
True.
That one's the wildest. That is the wildest.
No, this one and then the Patriots ones are my favorite. That one's true. Keep going.
And
over the cheese.
Okay.
Okay, so Alex Earl's boyfriend.
That's the Dallas Cowboys. That's Dak Prescott.
2 years in a row they've done that.
It's 2 years in a row. Like I guess because the horseshoe cowboy
logo, and it's a
I don't know, maybe thing. I guess so, yeah.
I wouldn't want to be a table around him.
Like he will go on fourth every time. He just don't care. Like he's like me if I play the NFL on my phone.
I love that one.
I didn't realize
football is a great take.
Yeah, it's so good because you know what? He's so right. Like over under 2.5 go for it on fourth down in their own territory. Over.
I know that they used to kick the Super Bowl's ass for a consecutive, maybe 3 to 4 years straight with Tom Brady.
And then what happened?
That was my favorite. That was my favorite. What happened?
3 to 4 years. Brother tried 12.
Well, yeah, brother, multiply by 4, my friend. You're not close. But no, that's my favorite one because truly, what happened? Yeah.
My favorite actor is a fan of theirs.
Oh. They got rid of Kurt. Talking about? Who do you think she's talking about? Who's a notable fan? She's talking about the lady that was a paid actor to be a Chargers fan last year. Remember that?
I hope not. That
Asian lady with the bob cut.
Yes.
It was like she has to be a paid actor. There's no way. Yeah. That's my guess because I don't know who is. I know that there aren't just regular fans of the Chargers. I didn't know there were also famous people that are fans of the Chargers. But anyways, keep going.
Cousins and they shouldn't have.
They have David Carr is what I know about them.
They got rid of Kirk Cousins and they shouldn't have.
Great. Fantastic comedic timing. Great take. Great callback.
I don't know that one either. Yeah. If you could describe their team in 3 words, what would it be?
Going downhill.
That's wild.
It's a good take.
No, that's
good take by that
wild.
Guy. Great take.
Eli Manning, for sure.
That's pretty much it.
I don't know who those guys are.
So close, and yet so far.
Should have just stuck with Manning. Yeah.
I don't know who they are either.
I'm terrible at this.
I'm so bad. They have fans?
I love
Ownership saw that one and said, give us that one.
Best team in the AFC South.
We're from Tennessee, me and him, so hey, go Titans.
They've been really good lately.
I like your quarterback.
Their fan base is awesome.
Good fan base. If you were here for the draft, this place was like Times Square on New Year's Eve.
That's my guy. That's my guy right there.
He sounds like he's from your neck of the woods. It sounds like you're kind of folk right there. Good video, good content, good template for a video. I think they should just do it every year until it gets dull. It's not dull yet. I still like it.
I'm all right with it. I think
it's not as good as it was the first time. It's not as good as the first one.
I think if they did it again next year, I don't know what they would do.
They need to. It sounds like they didn't stick out.
They need to find.
You need to do a large sample size. Yes, dumber people. Maybe go at night.
Later.
Exactly.
Later.
Yeah, later. Go later in the day. That looked like it was like a noon interview on the street. Far too early.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's the Titans schedule, and that's going to be it for us today. We appreciate you guys jumping on here with us on a Wednesday evening. We'll be back. I think we'll be back Sunday. TBD on that. If not, we'll be back on Tuesday. Regular. Check out.
Starting.
Yeah, OTAs are starting. Regularly scheduled days. So as Kenneth, still nobody knows who the Jaguars are. There's no reason to know who they are. The people in London know who they are. But that's about it. Stoney's saying we need to find that guy and pound some drinks with him. Yeah, JT, you and that guy you guys would be drinking buddies, I can tell. Yeah, I think you get along quite nicely. All right, well, we'll see you next week, and I'm going to go enjoy some golf tomorrow and be offline. So thanks for tuning in, guys. For producer JT, I'm your host, Easton Freeze. It's been the Hot Read Podcast. We'll talk to you later.